What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another run here on Sunday Test Drive. Today, got a new trailer to Preston 501 line and the Freightliner FLB. Now, there's multiple versions of this out there. Just looking, I saw 5 or 6 different uploads since ATS has come out. But this is the most recent one. There is another one that's out. It's from Slippus, if I pronounced that right, and that provides with a single axle instead of a tandem that we have here. But for this one, this is the regular one, and I kept this one base stock as much as I can, added the dual stacks, put the fog lights in, and that was pretty much it. Stock steel rims and everything else, nothing except for the computer box up in the windshield there, pretty much bone stock. And I wanted to keep with how this truck might have been when Preston was operating, since this is a mid-90s model Freightliner cabover. I didn't see any photos of these tractors being operated by the Preston truck line company, but I did see some internationals, and well, I downloaded one because there is a 9800i cabover. It's a beta, and as I was leaving San Francisco, it hit the tunnel. It's too tall. So out with that one, in with this one. Hopefully that beta international gets worked on and that gets fixed. Don't know why it was too tall. Looking at it when I went in third person, I still had plenty of room, so I don't know what in the world is going on with that. Maybe the hitbox is just too damn big on it. But with that said, jump in the Freightliner. Got the orange paint on it, which Preston had at the time. Now, the Preston 501 line, this is a special wrap that was done by Big Larry 1950. Link for this one is going to be in the description. He's also got a couple others, Town Air Freight and Staples, which replaces the 42 print trailers. But the Preston 501 line is a company that went bankrupt back in 1999, and it's a nice little throwback trailer. So I figured, why not go ahead and run this one, help out Big Larry a little bit, and hopefully you guys like it. And just try to stick with the old school theme here with this one. So I think it works in the photos I've seen, although most the company used mainly Fords and old Macs, and like I said, the International as well. But, you know, there are no old Macs or old Ford 9000, tractors out there for the mods. So this one works, and I think it looks pretty damn good, in my opinion. But with times like this, if I'm gonna do Warner or Knight or whatnot, I'm gonna try to keep with how you might see them on the road. I don't like mixing and matching just for my own benefit here on Sunday Test Drive. So, gonna try to stick with how things should be and try to keep with the originality of the look and pay homage to companies like Preston and others down the road here. So today we're going from San Francisco to Sacramento Walmart, so it's not a very long run, hauling computers, not that heavy of a load either, so it shouldn't take too long. Nice short episode for you guys, and a little bit of history too as we go along. Can't quite tell what trailer that is, though. Maybe a Great Dane, looking at the back of it. Now, in the truck right now, as you see, I turn on the parking lights and the headlights come on too. But since we're at night, might as well turn the headlights on. Now you see the reflection on the ground here. I do have the Cat C15 430 motor in here, so 430 horsepower, which is at the high end of the ballpark what they might use. And I do have a 13-speed transmission. Doing my research on these trucks, they were Cummins, Detroit Diesels, and a handful of Cats, but this truck doesn't offer anything in that area. But as I pull out here, I'll let you guys enjoy the sounds of the Freightliner here, and when I get back in the cab, I'll go over the more specs on the truck as well as the history of Preston. cab here as I get readjusted here with the head tracker. As you can hear from the truck, the engine brake needs a little help. It almost sounds like something out of the W900. Nothing I can really do about that. But the one thing I like about this tractor here is it does seem to have the normal physics that a cab over would have. You do get the bouncing, the swaying on the gas and on the brake where it goes forward and back. If you take a corner a little too hard, a little too much speed, you will get the cab rock from side to side. So it is still a nicely done tractor, and obviously they must have done something right because it's been around for so long. It was on ETS, it was on here on ATS as well, and there's multiple versions. So whether you want the dual rear or the rear drive or the single, it's worth a look. And I've got both of them in my arsenal, and I'm kind of liking this one. I think this truck is going to have to stay in the rotation here for this profile. But the trailer, Preston 501. 501 actually for Preston started because when they first started up back in 1932, when they went LLC, one of the drivers or one of the employees counted all the pieces of equipment. He says, we have 501 pieces of equipment to serve you, and that's where the 501 line came from. So they stuck with it, and it ran the whole time. All their trailers were labeled as Preston the 501 line, even though they obviously went further than 501 pieces of equipment. They went strong here and there. They had their ups and downs like any other company would have. They purchased quite a few different companies, ranging from Northeast, where they were based out of, all the way down to Georgia, as well as, and I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, SAIA, S-A-I-A, and many of us see those trailers. They almost look like it's S-A-L-A, but I know they're here in the Chicagoland area, and they're all over the place. It was a company that was based out of Louisiana, another family-run company that started long ago, and they were bought out in the 80s by Preston, and Preston merged them in, so now you had two LTL companies under the same flag, under the same house. And they were eventually bought in '93 by Yellow Corp. Preston was falling on hard times. They were struggling with competition as well as higher insurance costs and throughout the 80s. And they were finally picked up by Yellow. And that lasted for about 5 years or so. They branched out a little further with that one, but they also, during that time and also before that time, sold off some of the companies that they had purchased. A carpet company or carpet distributor company down in Georgia and so on. And a lot of the issues that Preston had dealt with, especially in the 80s, whether it was union issues out of Detroit or competition where they, for a while, were trying to stay 3 to 4% higher than what their competitors were doing, and they were losing business. So finally they had to lower their prices. A lot of these things they were able to survive, but in the end there was just too much debt, too much load for Preston and Yellow to handle, and Yellow ended up selling it off to a couple of Preston execs that were in charge of the company originally. In 1998, they were sold to a group of Preston managers. That lasted for about a year. But then finally, August 1999, Preston shut its doors. They were unable to find, as we go through the corkscrews here, real easy to lose control of your truck when you're going downhill like this. So you gotta stay on top of the shifting, stay on top of the braking. This game, I don't think, recreates smoking the brakes, but definitely on a grade like that, with that kind of speed, you can definitely roast those brakes, and you come down and you got smoke and steam coming off of them. I don't think that's something this game recreates here with the brake fade, but it'd be cool if it did. But as I was saying, they sold it to a group of Preston managers, and then a year later, August 1999, they finally had to close their doors because they couldn't secure any more financing from lenders to continue on. So it's an unfortunate thing that happened with a company that had been in business since the 30s. They made it through the Great Depression. They made it through World War II. Buying multiple smaller freight companies to expand theirs. Now, with deregulation, that brought a lot of opportunities for Preston to expand. Deregulation allowed companies to go across territories and undercut the regional people in that area to try to take away business, and they did a pretty good job with that. Also, they were able to petition the government to be able to operate in all 50 states, which was granted. So they introduced several new types of service, including the traditional operating area, which was based in the Northeast. They introduced what they called their Gold Rush service, and that was to California and Nevada. So from there, they also went beyond the continental United States. They began shipping goods to Puerto Rico and the Caribbean, and they used the name Valero for that one. And they also added a trans-ocean service, which expanded their reach to Europe. So by that point in the early 80s, or mid 80s, they had 78 freight terminals, and they had over 4,000 employees. So I would say it looks like the peak, it sounds like the peak of the company was in the early to mid 80s. They had revenues or earnings revenues that were over $200 million a year. So at that point, they were the 9th largest trucking company based on profits in 1983. So, from there, it looked like the sky was the limit, but then the wheels started falling off for the company. And that led to Yellow picking them up, and then 5 years later, 6 years later, no more. Amazing how fast things can change. But Preston's gone. Not all the companies that they had their hands on are gone as well. The main one that is still here, aside from Yellow, but Yellow bought Preston, not the other way around, is Saya, or Sala, however it's pronounced. That company is still here, and they're going strong and as better as they ever probably could be right now. But stuck at this construction here, I'm going to pop outside the cab, let you guys enjoy the sounds and the scenery. Too bad sounding on the outside until you go down that engine brake, and then it's for me anyway. I don't know about you guys, but inside though, it's not half bad. So engine brake while you're inside the cab. Outside of the cab, no, don't use it. Yeah, a little fast there, but and when I was a kid, I would always see these cab overs, and I was always worried about them when they were running bobtail, thinking that they were going to roll over on their face. To me, in my head, when I was a kid, all that weight sitting up front there, I liked the long nose trucks, and I'd see these trucks, and I was thinking, how are they not rolling over on their face? They're thinking on the brakes really hard, and they've got no trailer to help keep them down. Because on some of these, the axles, on like the Internationals, the axles are really far back. I mean, the door is in front of the front axle. So to me, it's like, how in the hell are they not, you know, destroying those front ends? How the hell are they not rolling over? You know, I'm just a kid, you know, 9, 10 years old or whatever, so I don't realize that the engine is further back and, you know, most of the weight is still behind the front axle. And, but it just blew my mind every time I saw him, and whenever I saw him as bobtail, I was so worried about it, so... the things that scare you when you're a child, and then you realize when you're an adult, you know, it was pointless. But yeah, I'm liking this setup here, and now that I'm sitting here driving, and I almost want to think that this could be something that they, you know, a run that they might have done. I mean, not in San Francisco, obviously, but a truck like this, and you know, the trailer, you know, it almost, I think, in my opinion, this is a pretty damn good throwback. But here we are at Walmart. Still have the easy parking set up for this profile here for the test drives, because, you know, I'm not really here to show off parking skills. This is just here to show off a truck and a trailer and discuss, you know, both pieces. So, as I pull up here, I appreciate you guys watching. I hopefully you enjoyed this one. Give it a like, give it a share. All that stuff helps. And I'm probably going to be changing the name here from the Sunday Test Drive, because if you take the abbreviation, what does that come out to? And so I think I might have to change the name. We'll see. But there we go. Yeah, that's a nice looking setup right there, if I don't say so myself. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy.